Greetings, viewers. What we have hidden in this sort of mysterious looking black pouch is a brand new, inexpensive vac filler from Wing Sung. This is the model 699. This is a inexpensive $29 vacuum filled pen from Wing Sung. So it's got a decent amount of weight to it. It weighs 29 grams. It's a vac filler. It's got some metal parts, etc. This is a brown or amber colored plastic. If it looks suspiciously like a Pilot Custom 823, you would not be the only one that thinks so. Yeah, this is very, very much similar to a Pilot Custom 823. It's pretty much exactly the same size, etc. Clips are very different, and the price is very different by about an order of magnitude. Obviously, gold nib versus steel nib, etc., etc., and so forth. So here's a good look at comparing the business ends. You can see the nibs are similar somewhat in size, but again, talking about a very, very different price, north of $200 for this pen, this Pilot pen, and this Wing Sung is, like I said, about $26. So, in addition to comparing it size-wise to the Pilot Custom 823, here it is compared to a Lamy Safari and a Pilot Metropolitan. So you can see it is comparable in size to the 823 and a bit bigger than the Safari or the Metropolitan. Around the cap band, it says Wing Sung 699, made in China. It's etched in there in a way that is very reminiscent of the way Montblanc used to do etching on some of their pens, but other than that, it pretty much is designed to look like the Pilot. The clip is not nearly as nice as the Pilot, but still pretty nice. It has a tiny little Wing Sung logo at the top, has a clip band that runs all the way around, and is fairly functional. It does not have the nice sort of ball-shaped clip, which I really like on the Pilot. It is a vac filler, so to unscrew this, to unscrew the cap takes 2.5 turns, which is a decent amount. Obviously, it does post and post very, very cleanly and nicely. Pretty long when posted. You could use it unposted as well. I do like to always post my pens, as you probably know if you've watched this channel. It is a vac filler. Let's talk a little bit about disassembly. So when you pull out the vacuum filling mechanism, you don't have any sort of flat surfaces to grip here. There's no way to really get a tool here on anything like that. But the good news is it will come off in the hand. It is hand doable without any tools. So you can simply unscrew that. You don't want to lose that little ring there. And now you've disassembled the vacuum filling mechanism. The pen itself pretty much comes completely apart. You can unscrew the section from the barrel, and the nib and feed pull right out. So in terms of easy disassembly for a vac filler, this is about as easy as it gets. These are pretty nicely silicone greased here. I am going to add a tiny dab of silicone grease when we reassemble, just for grins. So as you can see, this is going to go right back where it came from. I'm going to put a little bit of silicone grease on these threads here. Again, just to be rather safe than sorry. No reason not to really tighten that up. Again, just sort of finger tight. Now we pretty much got the vac mechanism all back together. As you can see how really, really easy this is. We'll put a little bit of silicone grease on the section threads. Again, there's a nice O-ring, as you can see right there, which will help keep everything all sealed. There we go. And only thing left, let's just clean some of that silicone grease off there. Make sure we don't want to get any silicone grease near our nib and our feed. We will put our nib and feed back together. This is not keyed, so it can pretty much just go in any which way. And there we go. We have now done a complete field strip down and reassembly of this pen. While we have this pen out, let's compare it to a couple of other inexpensive vac fillers that have come out in the, fairly recently. So one might want to compare it to an even cheaper vac filler from Wingsung. This is the 3013. So you can see it's a little bigger than that one. Very, very different design. This is much more of a TWSBI type design. We also have some pens from Pen BBS. We have the Pen BBS 456, which is a more expensive one, but still I would put it in the fairly inexpensive vac filler category, and the Pen BBS 268, which is also an inexpensive vac filler. So here we have a bunch of inexpensive vac fillers that have come out recently. Let's take a look at the business ends for just a minute, just so we can see. This pen we're looking at today, the 699, is in all likelihood, it has the largest nib of the bunch. The Pen BBS nibs are comparable, but they are a bit smaller. So here is, let's just look at it this way. Here is the business ends of all these compared. The one right here is the 699, which we're looking at today. So all bunch of nice nibs, etc. The 699's nib is a really nice two-toned nib. It says, got the Wingsung logo, says Wings S and an F for fine, and it's two-toned and has a little bit of scroll work. So it's a nice looking nib. That's a pretty, I think we pretty much exhausted describing this pen. We are going to fill it with this ink right here. This is a nice brown ink from J. Herbin. This is Cacao du Brésil, or Cacao du Brésil. It's French, so I can't pronounce things in French, but you get the idea. All right, we got a pretty good fill right on the first shot here. It filled probably about 75 or 80% of the way up. If you want to get 100% fill on this, check out the video I did on the Wingsung 268, and that will show you a methodology for pretty much getting 100% full on any pen. This is plenty of ink for my purposes, so I'm not going to bother with that for now, but you can definitely do that with this vacuum filler pen or any other one for that matter. But most importantly, you're probably wondering, how does it write? We're going to find that out right now. Okay, folks, what we're writing with here today is a Wingsung model 699, and this has a fine steel nib. And the one thing I'll say right off the bat, that this is definitely bordering on extra fine. So it's very fine for a fine nib. That not to say it's not a nice nib, so it's decently smooth. It seems to be flowing quite well. All in all, a pretty nice writing nib. But it is definitely on the finer side of things. In terms of flex or line variation, really not much of anything. It's a pretty stiff nib. But there is definite smoothness here, which I definitely like. And it seems to be a little bit on the wet-ish side. For such an extra fine nib, so that's definitely welcome as well. But I'm pretty happy with this pen. Again, I would have preferred a broader nib. I might actually try to put a broader nib in here and see if that'll work. But for now, this is meeting with my approval, as they say. It's definitely a nice looking pen. If you know, I'm such a huge fan of the 823 from other videos. That shouldn't surprise you that I think this is a very stylish pen. I would have liked them to copy the 823 even more with the clip, and then it would really, and if you put a 823 style clip on this and put a broader nib on here, this pen would be absolute perfection in my mind. But I guess you can't have everything. Where would you keep it after all? That's an old Stephen Wright joke, in case you're wondering. I didn't make that up. So that's about it for this pen, I would say. Let's talk about this ink for just a moment. Okay, this ink is J. Herbin. Actually, I should really just call it Herbin because they got rid of the J in J. Herbin a while back, and the newer bottles are just called Herbin. So we'll get rid of the J for now. And this ink is Cacao du Brésil. And there's an accent here. So this is basically a cocoa / chocolate ink. So this is cocoa. So it's definitely basically a muted brown, I would call it. It's a nice brown. I mean, it's not going to like dethrone SBRE brown or anything like that. It's one of my favorite browns, but it is definitely a nice looking brownish color ink. Again, it's a nice J. Herbin ink, so it's got all the nice properties that the J. Herbin inks tend to have in terms of bleed through and dry time and all that other good stuff. It would appear to me that you might get a little bit of shading and variation here if you had a broader nib or different paper. Speaking of different paper, let's try it on some Tomoe River paper and see what that looks like. Okay, what we're writing with here is Herbin, Cacao du Brésil, again, a nice, attractive brownish ink. There is a little bit of variation to be had here. Not much, but there is some, which is definitely welcome. Fairly flat, I guess, brown, I would describe it as. But it is a nice shade. I have the J. Herbin, I have the tea color, I have the chocolate color, I have the coffee color. So I said this before, I definitely should do a side-by-side brown beverage comparison video for J. Herbin. So that should be forthcoming. But there you go. I like it. I have it in this little tiny 10 milliliter bottle. It is obviously available in the larger bottles from J. Herbin as well. And there you go. I think that'll just about do it for this video. What do we think? I think so. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, because I know I did. If you have any questions, comments, etc., please leave them. Please subscribe. Keep those thumbs up coming. And until next time, as always, have a great day. Bye-bye.